bringing you cooling upgrades this week. We've just had this FK2 dropped off of us this afternoon, and we've got a whole host of cooling parts to get fitted on it tomorrow, but the car's looking pretty filthy, so I'm going to get it outside and give it a good clean up before we get started. So the car's cleaned up now and looking a lot better, although you can definitely see that it is a used Type R. Quite a few stone chips and little nicks around the bodywork, but nevertheless that's not what we're here for. We're here to fit these parts, so let's go and have a look. So some of the products we're going to be fitting today, we're going to start with a front bumper removal, and that's to get access to the intercooler and radiator. We're going to be starting off with the massive Airtec front mount intercooler, and that's along with the big boost pipe kit and red silicone joiners. Whilst we're in that area, we're going to be fitting one of the increased capacity Dream Radiators, and that's going to be joined together with Forge Motorsport coolant hoses and a spoon thermostat. The spoon thermostat is going to open at a lower temperature and allow the coolant to circulate that a little bit sooner. Whilst we're in the engine bay, we're also going to be completing the Airtec package in fitting one of the turbo inlet pipes. Nice big diameter and work very, very well. Some of the other products that we're going to be fitting whilst the car's in with us is a Funk Motorsport turbo heat shield and a HKS auxiliary belt. Whilst we got the auxiliary belt off, the customers asked if we could replace the tensioner at the same time. We're going to finish the job off with a oil change, so genuine Honda filter, a spoon sump plug, using Miller's oil, and then topping up the coolant with the VP Racing Stay Frosty coolant. So that's enough about the products. Let's get the car on the ramp and start getting it stripped down. So I've got the car up on the lift now, I've got the fluids draining and started some of the strip down. I've removed the scuttle panel to gain access for the valve clearances, the slam panel to start removing of the front bumper. But on a first initial look around the car, I've spotted a few things that need correcting. We've got a damaged InGen intake here. The weld's just broken apart, so we'll get a nut and bolt through that one, get that re-secured. Found a blowing exhaust and a rear anti-roll bar that's fitted in correctly, so we'll get those all rectified. But further looking into the car, quite a few rusty bolts. A couple of the under tray bolts snapped on me when they were coming out, rusty clamps, but nothing we wouldn't expect to see on a car that's got nearly 100,000 miles on it. So you might be watching this thinking, what is this guy up to? But I'll tell you exactly why I've stripped off the whole front end of the FK2, and it's to gain access. I'm going to be able to fit the turbo blanket a lot easier with the slam panel in place. I've got inches to work in. And then moving over to the radiator and intercooler, if anybody's fitted an Airtec intercooler alongside an aftermarket radiator, you'll realise that where the pipe comes around the side and with the increased width of the radiator, it is extremely difficult to get the pipes together. So give myself some access, make the work easy. So after we shut up shop yesterday, I came back last night just to catch up with some of the work, as we've got a fair bit on in the workshop at the moment. As you can see, there's quite a few changes that have happened. I've undersealed around the front end here, giving everything a bit of a rub down on some of the heavier rust and just topped up the underseal to give it a little bit more protection. There's a few little rusty parts that we started to see, so as I was working on fitting the new tensioner and auxiliary belt, I noticed there's a fair bit of rust build up on the aircon compressor clutch pack. So just at the end, it had gone quite orange, turned the belt like a brown colour as well. And that's due to where the aircon compressor has a magnetic clutch pack that will engage and disengage as and when the compressor's needed. There must have been water sitting inside there and rusted on the surfaces, so therefore that clutch pack is probably not engaging as best as it could do. More rust that I found. On the hose pipe here, you'll see that it usually has a clamp that you pinch together to pull the hose off. Unfortunately, those tabs have completely rusted away. I haven't even touched this one yet, and you can see they're gone. So another good reason as to why a car with a high mileage or getting older, it's worth moving over to Jubilee clips so you can get a good clamp on all the hoses that are fitted. One other little issue that I've managed to spot and rectify whilst working down by the aircon compressor, the dump valve, one of the bolts, that's particularly the lower bolt, had been cross-threaded into place and not sent all the way home. So I removed that bolt, I've managed to save the hole, so I tapped it back out, got the bolt back in there and sealed the dump valve back up. Clearly that would have been leaking a fair bit of boost and the car wouldn't have been performing to its best. I started to work on some of the boost pipes until I realised these little guys go right down the back there, so before I get too much further with the boost pipes, I'll get these fitted first. Just getting round to fitting the radiator up now, and as I mentioned previously, when you fit in the Airtec and a increased capacity radiator, whether it's a Dream or something different, you'll notice that it gets really tight around the side here where the boost pipe's going to come through. So before the radiator finally gets mounted up, I'm going to take it back out and trim away some of the fan cowling just to make space for the boost pipe that's down there. So the intercooler's fitted up now, and it was really tight down this side. With the fact that we've got an increased width on the radiator and the cast end tank is in a fixed position, it makes it really tight to get the silicone slipped onto the end tank just due to the actual amount of space that we haven't got down there. But it's on, it's nice and tight. The rest of the pipes have all been fitted right up to the throttle body now. Next steps really, I'll start getting the wiring limb over, get the cross member back on, and we have got one other small piece to cut up. That's going to be part of the front lower skirt, just needs trimming off along the front edge where we've now got the ducting for the Airtec. So I'm near enough finished up on the front end and getting all the intercooler, crash bar, all that back together. But before I finish up completely, we're going to be fitting a new front grille to the bumper. So we're getting rid of the silver grille that came as standard. We're fitting one of the sport grilles. This is a genuine Honda product. It comes with the nice texturized rubbered finish and it's going to fit perfectly. It's also going to complement the look of the new black intercooler. Should really look the part. Just to aid some of the fitment on the crash bar, when we've got these big Airtec intercoolers in, as you can see, it was a stepped core and we've got this lipped edge on the side. So I've marked up on the bottom. I'm just going to grind that edge off just so we've got a little bit of extra clearance now to stop it rattling later down the line. Thanks for watching and hope you've enjoyed some of the FK2 content from us, particularly the cooling upgrades. If you're considering upgrading any of the cooling system on your Civic, we've got a whole line of products of hard-lagged downpipes, turbo shields and many others. So feel free to drop one of the team a message and we'd be more than happy to help you. As always, if you haven't already, hit the like, share and subscribe button and we'll see you next week.